The picturesque town of Carrickmacross, County Monaghan, owes its origins to a castle built here in Elizabethan times by the Earl of Essex. Set in the drumlin country of South Ulster, this is basically an agricultural area where small farms predominate. Situated on the King's Court Road near Carrickmacross, Irish Stoneware and Fireclays Limited was founded in 1951 for the manufacture of clay pipes. At that time, the Holmes report, prepared in connection with Marshall Aid for Ireland, recommended extensive land drainage, and this factory was set up to produce pipes for that purpose. As the demand grew for stoneware products with the increase in house building, the plant began to produce sewage pipes and flue liners for chimneys.
We think send them off to East tomorrow. Jack wants to close. Okay.
The company was founded by the late Peter McParlin, father-in-law of the present manager Jim Ward, and the late Michael Devlin. Every morning, Jim and his son Peter do a round of the pipeworks, examining newly fired ware and checking the kilns. The only raw material used in this factory is clay, taken from a quarry on the site using a 19 RB dragline. This is no ordinary clay, but a coal measure shale, which the late Peter McParlin discovered accidentally while bird watching. Shale is a metamorphic rock formed by nature from sedimentary clay. It's suitable only for pipes, bricks, and other heavy clay products. Shale outcrops here for about a quarter of a mile, and its potential was recognised by Peter McParlin, who had experience of brickworks in the north and in Kingscourt, County Cavan. In the pan house, Tommy Martin shovels clay into the pan mill. Two large rollers crush the clay through an iron grid. Water is added to ease the process. The correct amount is critical. The pipes will be manufactured at 16% moisture. Tommy, with 30 years of experience behind him, can judge the amount perfectly by eye. Even large lumps of the stony shale are pulverised by the rollers. This pipe-making machine is called a horizontal extruder. The pipes are made by pushing clay through a mould at high pressure. The pipeworks is fortunate that it can use the clay immediately. Some clays, particularly shales, can require souring to improve their plasticity or the clay's ability to hold any shape which is given to it. Souring is done by simply letting clay sit undisturbed for a period of time. The pipes are coarse pottery, but even so, they require careful handling at every stage to avoid damage. Rings are cut on which to place the bottom pipes in the drying sheds. The 3 drying sheds can hold 30,000 pipes, and it takes up to 10 days before the pipes are dry enough to be put into the kilns. The vast heat from the kilns is drawn off and blown through a slatted floor. Any attempt to fire the pipes when the moisture content is too high will result in scaling, where the heat blows the face off the pipes. Sewage pipes are made on the vertical extruder. Clay pipes have proved their value since Roman times. They're unaffected by acids and will not corrode. They can continue to fulfill their function for centuries. Land drainage pipes are produced 3 at a time. They're only 3 inches in diameter. Despite an ancient knowledge of pottery, clay was not used for making drains until the 18th century. In medieval towns, wooden drainage pipes were used. The earliest land drainage in Ireland utilised covered stone drains and stone-lined open watercourses. Most householders have heard of an Armstrong junction. That's the section usually just outside the rear of the house where sewage pipes join, and where the pipes can be inspected and rodded in the event of a blockage. The manufacture of an Armstrong junction is still done, partly by machine and partly by hand. Michael Meegan specialises in making these difficult junctions. Using his eye and simple templates or patterns, he cuts away the required shapes and keys the material with a household fork. The water helps to fuse the 2 surfaces. Since the end of the 19th century, when most of the towns of Ireland acquired sanitation schemes for the first time, junctions have been produced in this way. Michael welds the joins by introducing a seal of clay. Every junction must be perfectly formed. The job requires patience, skill and effort to produce perfect watertight joints. The process is labour-intensive and is far removed from the robot-controlled car assembly plants of the 1980s. But just as silk defied the machine makers of the first industrial revolution, so clay would still present problems for automation. For a smooth flow, the interiors must be perfectly finished. While Michael is completing the pipe to his satisfaction, Pat McGibney prepares the box for the junction. Since 3500 BC, pottery has been made in Ireland, though there's not a continuous tradition. Little native pottery was made in the first millennium, except for souterrain ware in the northeast. But since 1200, there's a continuous tradition of producing simple earthenware vessels, strongly made and heavily glazed. In the 19th century, coarse pottery, including tiles, bricks, chimney pots and milk pans, were made in many areas. Many pottery centres became well known. Carley's Bridge in Wexford, Kilunty near Tuam, and Knockcroghery, County Roscommon, where there was also an extensive factory for making clay pipes for smoking. Fired bricks became fashionable in the 18th century, but were relatively expensive and were rarely used in vernacular architecture, except in houses for details such as windows and door surrounds, and in fireplaces and chimneys. Many brickworks were located along the newly built canals of the 18th century, and others, like Florence Court, County Fermanagh, were to become very extensive. In recent years, the revival of brick has been a feature of modern architecture, and the technique of manufacture and production is basically similar to the work carried out in the pipeworks. Few 20 years ago would have predicted this revival, and it gives encouragement to all those working in clay. Pat pays great attention to the finish inside the Armstrong junction, as the smallest lump of clay could hinder the flow and cause a blockage. The small knob of clay on the bottom helps to keep the junction level, as it compensates for the wider flange at the end of the pipes. Each junction gets its signature of type and size. The most dramatic parts of any brickworks are the kilns. Burning night and day, they light up the night sky for miles around. There are 6 downdraft beehive kilns. The largest kiln is 40 feet in diameter and 17 feet high. It's believed to be the largest of its type in the British Isles. The smaller kilns are coal-fired, and they measure 17 feet in internal diameter. The operation of emptying and filling a small kiln takes 12 men a whole day. Malachy Megan and Martin Shanky look after the job of firing the kiln. They light a coal fire in the yard in preparation for starting the fires in the ports around the kiln. To assess the temperature the kiln reaches during firing, the foreman places ceramic sagger cones designed to melt and collapse at different temperatures in the kiln, and clay test pieces at 2 different points. Before firing, the door, or wicket as it's called, is bricked up. Inspection holes are left at the top and bottom of the wicket. As with all pottery, firing is not just the random burning of clay. Heat is slowly built up, and the carbon is burned out of the clay at about 800 degrees Celsius. The temperature increase up to this point must be gradual, or the clay pipes will be damaged. After this, the temperature can be raised quickly to the optimum of 1050 degrees. Firing the kiln is a skillful art and is frequently dictated by weather conditions such as wind strength and direction, when the kiln will burn more fiercely on the windward side. Keeping an even temperature through the kiln is vital to bring about the correct fusion of the clay particles at the right temperature, while not overfiring to the point of melting or deforming the shape of the pipes. Oil firing has replaced coal in this large rectangular kiln, which is affectionately known as the chapel. Pipes used for carrying liquids such as sewage must not be porous, so they have to be vitrified. Vitrification occurs as the temperature of firing goes beyond red heat. It is the partial glassification of clay, and it gives to fired clay its characteristic impervious qualities.
Them boys itself doesn't be right every time.
That's the wind doesn't get it.
The last pet hole, the wind was blowing and smoking. Then the devil was at last. Remember that? Not better this time.
You had a calf out last week, Mark.
That's right, yeah. You had a good.
How did you do?
7-year-old calf. I done well with him, but he was a great calf, man.
What age was he?
Just 7 months. £363 for him.
Oh, that was a tenner. That was a good price.
Some price.
Some price on some calf, he
Some
says.
calf, he was a good calf, all right. But at the same time, calf doesn't come too often, Malik. You can't pay the old job.
More money in the pipe.
More money in the pipes. You can't pay them.
Check every week.
You must have cattle ready, Malik. You sure you have a battery
I
cattle
have
there?
I'm going to want them. I'm going to want them on for a while.
You have a lot of electrical.
Can you feed them for them?
That's what it is to be the big man again. The big man, huh?
I'll run them on here in February or March. Poor Martin, we're about to go a bit of a fire on this. She's getting very low.
After 36 hours, the kiln has finally reached 1050 degrees Celsius. Sean Byrne will hold it at this temperature for the next 12 hours. Sean hasn't too long to wait. He will stop stoking the fires in another hour and dampen down the kiln for the slow process of cooling. By noon the following day, the pipes are still red hot. Sean closes the door of the shaft, which will carry the extracted hot air to the drying rooms. The flue to the chimney is also closed to prevent the heat being wasted. The moment of truth has arrived. There's always a feeling of anticipation as the wicket is broken down. Has there been an uneven burn, an explosion and collapse?
Good luck job, man. Oh, you're not on that job. Very good job there.
The two bottoms is down to, isn't it? Big bottom one and down to that.
Good job.
Good job, right?
Right. You were out now,
The great weakness of well-fired clay is that it's brittle, and until in position can still easily be damaged. On the other hand, well-fired clay is impermeable to liquids and resists chemical abrasions. Everyone in the pipeworks takes pride in their product. Many of the men have helped to physically build the dome kilns and install the machines. After 30 years, it is part of their lives, and they are proud of their skills. Looking at kilns as they're emptied, we're aware of a pottery tradition which stretches back before the dawn of history.
More from Hands next Monday at 7:30 here on One. After the break, Nana Moon's East End Boys are worried that she's not herself.